Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. My husband, yes, it's real finicky. He got me this also. He got me this headset, and where you try to grab onto the headset part to situate it, right back there is a button, and I think that's the mute button. So I guess I had it on mute, and there's no like a light or anything that indicates if it's on mute or not. So, okay, is it clear? Is it better or worse than how you used to hear me? You're my testers because I have no way of knowing. Ouch. I made a big boo-boo right now. A few minutes ago I had some potato chips and I just wiped my eyes and I haven't washed my hands. Holy moly. Okay. Patricia says it's clear for her. Darla says it sounds different, but it's clear. Different good or different bad? Well, it was sour cream and onion. And they're all just full of salt. You know what I mean? Yeah, real salty. Oh my, I don't know why I did that. Oh my goodness. Okay. Because what he did is he got this headset. Well, what I'll do later is, I'll play back and hear what I sound like on this recording, see how it comes out on a recording. Because if I don't like them, if I don't like how it sounds, I'll just give them to him. It's like surround sound. I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm not exactly singing. Okay, so this is what he did. I had to go run some errands today. Oh, let me backtrack. Our washer, no, excuse me. Yeah, our washer was acting up a few days ago. And then it decided to it would wash and it would go through all the cycles. And then right when it was going to go to the spin cycle, um, after the final rinse, it would just stop and it wouldn't do anything. And I'd push all the buttons and restart and everything, and it would restart at the very spot, where it wouldn't even go like to the beginning of the cycle and wash it all over again. It was just stuck there and wouldn't do anything. So my husband, he used to be an elevator mechanic, so he knows components and switching things out and troubleshooting stuff. And if he can do an elevator, I think he can do a washer, right? So he looks everything up on the internet and finds out usually what's wrong if it won't go into the spin cycle. So he ordered that part and replaced it. We were real excited. We figured, ooh, that's all it's going to be. But no, it didn't work. So basically, we wasted $75 in hopes that we would, save save a lot more money. Anyway, so then we had a guy come out. We go, okay, well, we're gonna have to go ahead and call a repair guy and get it fixed and all that stuff. Get the repair guy. He comes and he says, well, I have good news and bad news. I thought, well, how can that be? He says, bad news is what you fixed was not wrong. And we said, what's the good news? Says the good news is I'm going to tell you the truth. That he says, and he's told us what was wrong with it. I forget even now what it was. And something with the motor control thingamajigger. And he says, and that costs 200 and some bucks plus labor, which was came out to 300 and some dollars. All right. So that type of washer we have are the stackable ones. And so they run about $6 $700 or so. So that's like already half the price of a new one. And then he says, and he listened to this, and then he turned the you know what I mean, turned the thing. I can't think of words right now. And he says, "Do you hear that little sound?" Which I did. And he says, "The bearing in here is about to go at any time. So if you repair this thing that we're telling you about, we'll fix that part, and maybe, 5, 6 months less, maybe you're going to call us because the bearing has gone out, which is another three or some $100. So we're talking about full replacement cost, you know, to repair it. So we decided, okay, well, we got to do that. We got to do that. So this has been taking up all my time and past couple of weeks, and I've been washing things by hand because I was too lazy to go to the washer to go get them washed. We still had the dryer, and anyway, meanwhile, for the past 6 months, all the little lights on our dryer go off and on in the middle of the night. It doesn't turn on off and on the machine, but the lights are going beep, beep, beep. I feel like I'm in a Star Trek movie or something. So my husband says, okay, that means electronically this thing's ready to go at any moment. It's playing games with us. And okay, so we decide after discussing it for like over 3 or 4 days, which was the cheapest way or the more practical way or the more sensible thing to do, buy the bottom and keep the dryer until it blows out or this or that. And, you know, so bottom line, after all the confusion, we decided, okay, forget it. Let's just get the whole two new things, start from scratch, start with the warranty, and quit just throwing money at something bad that may cost us more money at the end, right? So, anyway, so with all that going on, um, here I am telling everybody in my group, make sure you get your package out by Friday. Get your package out by Friday to Patricia. Make sure it's out by Friday for Patricia. What do? I forgot yesterday to go take the package for Patricia. So in the part of town that I live in, well, let me see. There's like maybe 6 or 7 post offices in my town, but only one of them is open on Saturday, and it's the one on the other end of town. So I told Richard, okay, I gotta go. I gotta get this package out today. So I run over across town to the only one that's open, and I'm all excited, like, oh, at least it's only one day late. I won't tell Patricia the truth, right? so 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 I go and I um you know get my mail out. I had a few orders. I put those out there too. And so the guy, pushes a button so that I can get my receipt. And the receipt won't come out. And he rebooted it. He turned things off and on. He did all kinds of stuff, and the receipt wouldn't go. He couldn't get the receipt. I was there like for 15 minutes. Could not get the computer to print out anything. So I said, well, I at least need the I at the very least, I need the tracking numbers because some of these are purchases and I got to show them that I sent it out. So he hand wrote. Oh, hold on, where is it? He hand wrote my numbers. I have to put those on my computer. Just remember. Glad I'm telling myself about that. So he had to handwrite them. Okay. So now I'm all proud of myself. I got the thing out, gone. Patricia won't know the difference if I don't tell her, and I won't tell the group. No, don't tell anybody anything. Okay. So anyway, so that's gone. So then I come home. Meanwhile, my husband had called some guy that was interested in taking the washer for parts. So he came, which was nice. He took it away, which to us was, helping us out by just getting it out of there, getting ready. And he took off the dryer and all that stuff and put it out on the porch. So now everything's all ready for our new stuff to be delivered. Hopefully, supposed to be tomorrow. Okay. So then so I cleaned up some stuff and put away a few groceries I'd picked up. So then I said, okay, I'm going to go next door and play. I'm tired of doing grown up stuff. And he goes, okay. So I go over here, and while I was gone, I didn't know, he had ordered me a monitor. Remember, I kept talking about a new monitor, new monitor, new monitor. Okay. So it's sitting in front of me right now. and I can see what you guys are actually typing because it's in front of me instead of, so my computer is over here where it always was that I couldn't read and couldn't see and all that stuff. And now I have the monitor in front of me, which I don't even know what size it is, but it's kind of humongous. I told him that is way too big. I'm going to just splatter paint all over it and I'm going to feel really bad about it. But anyway, so it's there. And he bought me little speakers to attach to the monitor, which was really good because when I turned on the the monitor that has speakers on it, they're kind of low and I can hardly hear it really. So it was really good that he got me the little things. Okay, so then he got me this headset that's supposed to be I shouldn't say supposed to be, is wireless, but I wasn't sure how it sounded. So that's a long-winded story. You know me, I've always got long-winded stories of what happened. Oh, and he did all that because in a couple of days is our anniversary. So, and he knows I'm more practical. I'm not the romantic type. I don't want the jewelry. I don't. He knows that about me. I don't want any of that kind of stuff. One year he got me some power tools. I was so excited. so 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 anyway, so he got, I'd been complaining about I need a monitor, I need to do this, and he just kept saying, well, buy one, buy one, and yeah, but he knows I don't like to spend money. I complain about stuff, and I'm just not the type that goes out and spends money. And so anyway, so that was good. That was a good choice on his part because he knew I wouldn't have done it, and I wouldn't have done it. And so at least now I have it. I can stop complaining about it. And he got me something I really want, and it's practical, and so I'm a happy camper. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, so um now see, here I am just jibber jabbering, which I can see what you guys are writing. So, but me, it's hard for me. Oh, the tape video. Did you guys see what Laura did? I saw Laura posted in my group. She went um Jersey Crafter. She went all out and she did a whole bunch of them, all kinds of rainbowy colors. It came out so cool. They're really, really cool. Um, I'm not going to do it tonight because, like I say, I'm just on to, test the stuff out and see, get my bearings here with all this tech stuff that Richard put up. Um, yeah, Samantha, wasn't it cool what she did? She she did them really, really nice. I had always just done the antiquing with them, and she had messaged me. She says, "Well, will it work with the colors?" I go, "Sure, of course. It's all the same stuff." And she says, "Oh, I'm going to try the colors." And oh my goodness, they came out so cool. I love it. She did a great job. She underestimates all of her talents. I didn't think of doing it with the colors. I'd be very honest with you. I had all those colors sitting in front of me, never gave it a second thought because I was just thinking of making it look antique. And I would have never thought to do it until I saw her do it. So that was really good call on her part. Um, a whole confessional. I know. I know. See, now I have a new monitor, so it's like my altar. I'll just come and do my confessions. Oh my goodness, Kathy, are you guys close to all that rain? I mean, I know I don't know why in my head I get confused to Dallas and Houston area. You're more in the toward Dallas, right, Kathy? If I'm remembering correctly. What am I working on? Tammy, I just had a whole long-winded thing that I'm not working on nothing. I just got my husband bought me some new equipment. I'm just testing it out. What I was doing the other night, I just put this here to have stuff there. What I was doing the other night, I was having a lot of fun. I was making a bunch of cloth beads. I was making all kinds of beads actually. So that was fun. I hadn't made them in a long time, and it's, real brain dead kind of stuff. So, um, I was just using up scraps, and then I was using some of my upholstery material, and look how cool those come out. Oops, trying to keep them separate. Look how cool those came out. These are kind of yummy. Oops, there it goes again. There it is. That, and then, um, those of you that know me well enough know that I like to. I don't really like to get on the bandwagon. Oops, let me move this stuff of what everybody else is doing. I like to do something different, just to be different. But you know how right now a lot of the ladies that are into the junk journaling and stuff, they're kind of doing their marbling and everything on paper. And the last time we talked, I had mentioned about, my friends when I lived in Hawaii, that I wish I'd taken them up on a lot of the stuff that, um, the art stuff that they were doing and playing around with in front of me and everything. And then I remembered this, they don't call it marbling, it's a different name. And you don't have to use all the different other kind of components that the marbling uses. Is completely different, and it's called sumi nagashi is what it's called. And so I remembered about that, and so I was remembering because they would do it there. It was so cool how they did it. And so I thought, I'm going to try that. And I remembered the kind of ink that they used. So I ordered some of that. It's just regular, um it's called sumi ink for the sumi nagashi type stuff. And then I got me the traditional, sort of like their calligraphy type brushes, because this is what you use for the sumi nagashi. And so they now have, which I hadn't bought these in years, I just got this on Amazon. They're very inexpensive. I think it was like, I don't remember, it was a pack of 4, and I think it breaks down to like $1.50 each brush or something like that. But look at these cool, oops, how do you get that off? Oh, I thought that was part of it. It's like the regular watercolor brushes, but what you do is you sit it on the ink, and then this little thing goes up and down, and it sucks up the ink. And I'm going to try that. It's really made for the calligraphy, but you can still use it for the suminagashi type thing. And I think that would be pretty cool myself. So anyway, so the next time you get together, I think we'll try that. And I'll show you how that's done. It's really a beautiful art form, and it's done in water and ink, and you print on the paper, but you don't have to go through all the steps and expense that you do with the traditional Turkish and Indian marbling. And really, your only investment is a sumi ink and something pointy, preferably a brush, but you can use like a chopstick, or you could even use, anything that's pointy, that. And can basically, all you do is you have one, you can use what's called gall, but they just use soap. And so you get all of your ink, and the ink, it soaks up really easily. And you basically put that, you just tap it on the top, and then you tap it with the other one because it makes it disperse. And you just go like that, and it creates all these ripples. And you can leave it just like that, or you can go to another section and start that, and then those ripples will push these ripples, and make really cool shapes. And you can print on either paper or fabric or whatever. But it's cool. I think it'd be cool to play with. Um, oh wow, Jennifer, that's cool. I never heard of that. Well, I'd even forgot about this to tell you the truth. And then, my talking about it last week, I just started thinking about all the fun things that I would sit there and watch them do. And then I remembered about this and I go, wait a minute. They didn't use all kinds of stuff. They just had water. They had the Sumi ink, and there was no investment at all, except, if you wanted to buy the Sumi ink. I can't remember. I bought this at Amazon too. It wasn't very expensive, not at all. And, ink goes a long way. There is a lot of ink in here. Um, but yeah, look it up. Sumi ink. And if you guys want to try it, and maybe we can do it together, get yourself some Sumi ink. If you order it through Amazon, you'll get it in a couple of days. And I'm sure most of you already have, some kind of a brush. But I wanted to do an homage to my Japanese friends, so I got a Japanese brush. um, BB Crafts is going to see my last video I did as a demonstration with their products and are going to be like, what? I'm doing the same thing right now, Tammy. What? Oh, great, Kathy. Well, you've already got that, and I know you have a brush. And so, you're going to be all set. And the papers, I actually have, well, the kind of papers that they used some, oh, what is the name of that paper? It's not really rice paper. I don't think it's rice paper. Maybe it is rice paper because it's their traditional calligraphy paper. And I think their traditional calligraphy paper is rice paper. And then also they do it on bamboo paper. I have some bamboo paper, so I'm just going to try it on that and see what happens. But you can do it on regular paper. That'll work. And then you just need a even if you just have, well, it needs to be at least like I would say like about an inch thick, but the water that you put in, it's only supposed to be a little over between like a quarter of an inch and a half an inch, the actual depth of the water. So I guess like if you had a cookie sheet that was, maybe like an inch rim around height, you could use a cookie sheet. But I don't think anything thinner than that. Um, and then you can, use that. And then the important thing is whatever paper you're going to use, make sure it is not bigger than your pan, because then you won't be able to lay it flat, obviously, and it's not going to print. So make it so that you have at least a half an inch to an inch on the perimeter, the paper smaller than the surface that you're going to be using at least. Hey, CJ. Yeah, when they did it, they only used the black ink. There's something different, and I don't know. I can't explain it to you because I honestly don't know. But there is something different with Suma ink than if you were just to go get, just it's the density of the ink. It's the weight, I think, the balance of the weight of the ink that's in this. Because if you can't use like those other kinds of inks that are out there, like I can't even think of what kind of ink I would making reference to, like India ink. India ink won't work. I tried it, I know. So that's why I ordered. I go, no, they use the Sumi ink, and that's why it's called Sumi Nagashi because you're using the Sumi ink, and so that's why I ordered it. It doesn't work with the India ink. Oh yeah, of course the Daiso stores. We don't have that here. Hi Keisha. Yeah, we don't have one of those here. I have to get everything through Amazon. We're a bunch of hillbillies out here. Oh, now my husband has this thing. Uh, he's going to try and talk to some people. He wants to start something in our community similar to those recycle art places like Scraps, stuff like that. And I told him, that Scraps has like not a mentorship, but they'll guide you and help you get it, off the ground. And you can follow their business plan and stuff like that. So, um, oh, Robin, I watched Robin. I must have missed that one. Masking paper. Oh yeah, Robin knows what she's doing. She's an artist. She really is. She does really cool stuff. I hadn't watched her in a while. I hardly watch videos anymore. I just don't have time to watch them. And then when I do, they're kind of like in the background. Um, and they just pop in and out. Even like with the sales, I'll have the sales on, but people might think I'm rude. I'm not answering a question or something, but I'm just it's just noise in the background. And then if something, I hear something like I don't know what, something Asian, woo, 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 then I'll run over and then I'll run over and see what was that? What was that? Oh, like reverse garbage? What does that mean? You're intriguing me, Jennifer. What are you talking about? Yeah, I'm a lurky Lou, that's for sure. Yeah. So sometimes people, you know, will be in the chat and then I'll sneak in and say something. They go, where'd she come from? I was there the whole time, but I wasn't reading chat. Here, I did a printout. Let me see where it is. Um, and you know how when you click on this, you click on that, and then you don't remember where you really got it from. I printed this out because, like I say, I was going from memory from like 10 years ago, and I found a printout, and it basically shows you um, how to do the. Oh, they do call it Japanese marbling. Here I was saying it's not marbling. It is a form of marbling. It isn't just. It isn't the kind that we're used to um, working with. Um, okay, now in this one, they talk about the photo flow. Well, um, they didn't use the photo flow when they were doing it. They use soap, just like it shows right here, a little drop of soap. So okay, so let me go over this with you guys for those of you that want to do it. And you boys and girls can get all your little toys together for next time. Okay, so here's a picture of the things it says that you need to gather your supplies. And it shows the ink, some kind of a container, a measuring something something, the soap. Forget the photo flow unless you have photo. Do not go by photo flow. All right. But if you already do pouring, you might have some photo flow. So that's probably in your stash. But don't go out and buy it. A dish soap is perfectly fine. And then some measuring things, and they have an eyedropper, you can use that for measuring also and to put stuff in. But most you're going to be using your brush. Okay. So, and you're going to use the water. And then they call this the starting solution. So forget the photo flow thing. So the starting solution is just your ink and water and a tablespoon of water with one little tiny drop of dish soap in there. And then a strip of paper that you can just make sure you clean off the top of your vat. And then you need your brushes, and you need two for this project. You need two brushes. And what's important is when you do this, a lot of people like, they do things like from an angle, like they're playing a drum or something. You don't do this process like that. It has to be up and down like that. Pretend you're milking a cow, not playing the drums, okay? And that, to learn how to do the right motion, you're doing it like that. Um, and so one will have the ink and one will have the water with the soap solution, and you go like that, and one after another you do that motion, and then it creates these ripples like this, and it's more and more and more. And then you can go and make different, if you don't want it just to be a ripple and you want it to make designs. Trust me, you don't even have to use a fan. Me talking right now is enough to blow those things around. You don't even have to blow on it. You got to, like, when you're breathing, it starts to move. Um, but and here they show you can also do it with a straw or something. So you could do that. You can put strings in between it and create your little designs and stuff like that. You know, whatever your little heart desires. Um, it shows making bigger swirls and things like that. Okay, so you just play with that as far as your designs are concerned. And then if you've done the traditional marbling, well, then you lay down your paper in the same manner as your traditional marbling, and then you lift it up, and it's done. So we'll try it. I don't mind making a fool out of myself in front of all you guys. It might be fun. Keisha, yes, but it was 10 years ago. Well, no, no, no. I take that back. I haven't done this. I watched it being done. I used to have a lot of Japanese neighbors. I lived in a neighborhood where there was a lot of Japanese, and not American Japanese, Japanese. And so when we would get together, they would do their artsy little get-togethers, was doing all kinds of really cool stuff, paper folding and ink and calligraphy and stuff like that. And a couple of times that we got together, they did the suminagashi, and it was just, to me, it was like magic. It was like boom, 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 and all these design. They knew how to manipulate it without even thinking, and it was super, super cool. So literally doing it, no, but I've seen it done, and all of us, we see it, and we want to do it. Only took me 10 years, but I think it'll be kind of fun. And as far as paper, they used, like I said, I think it was rice paper, but you can use anything. You can just use copy paper, whatever you have, and practice. I mean, it's ink. Ink sticks to anything. You know that already. So, and one thing about this is you don't have to pre-mortar your papers, with alum and stuff like that, like you do with the traditional marbling. Um, and you don't have to put anything into the water like you do with traditional marbling. So it is completely different. Some of the things are the same, but about the only thing that's the same is ink floats on the top, and you print with the paper on top of it, but all the stuff before is completely different. And this is totally random. Unlike, the Indian and Turkish marbling, there are distinct patterns that you can follow and get distinct looks. But this, You have to be like a master to make distinct marks because it's so easily manipulated just by the air. Going like this will move the ink. Just like that, the ink has already moved. Really, Louise? Oh, how cool. Did she have some of those papers or she knows how to do it or how did the conversation come up? Oh yeah. Yeah, Deb. It does stick to your clothes. Yeah, you can just put your arm over it. You got to sumi nagashi look. Keisha, the main difference is almost everything. Like I mentioned before, you don't put any thickening in the water. It's plain water. You don't have to put additives into the paint that you use like you do on the traditional marbling. You just use straight sumi ink. Um, you don't you cannot manipulate the designs like you can on traditional marbling. This is very free and mind of its own kind of art. I don't quote me. I have to do more research. I don't think Sumi ink comes in colors. Don't quote me. I don't know. I haven't researched that. So, like the traditional marbling, you have all those colors and everything. And with the Japanese marbling, I think I think it's only black, black and white. Well, black and whatever color paper you use. So, like I say, there's a lot. It's except for the fact that you're working with some kind of a color, an ink, and paper. That's pretty much the beginning and the end of how they're similar. I was buying an old book. Oh, yes, exactly, Keisha. It is very, what's the right word to use? It's very organic. It does what it wants to do. And you cannot manipulate it to make a certain pattern. You can get like cool results, like it shows here. If you just leave it and build up all the ripples, you're going to get all kinds of circles and it gets filled up more and more and more and more and more. And then if you blow on it, it will, make these cool little ripples in there, but you can't make a distinct design. And then you can blow on it. Still, you can't make a distinct design. You can use a straw. It'll make some cool things, but you're never going to get the same thing. So it's kind of cool. Also, you can do with some strings and things like that. Again, you can get that string, you make it kind of cool, and then when you go to put the paper on, the breeze from the paper, is going to make it woo all over the place. Unlike the traditional marbling, it's very those things are very stable because everything's thick. The water's thick. The ink is sitting there. Everything's thick, so it's easier to manipulate. And this is a lot cheaper. Okay, now you pretty much have to start from scratch each time after each print. There might be a tiny bit that you don't pick up, and if you just want to do a cleanup sheet, because I think cleanup sheets looks pretty cool myself. So at the most you're going to get two, but the second pull is just going to be really just picking up residual. So just figure you're making one print, and then you got to start all over again. And they would sit there. It's very meditative because once you get the hang of it, I mean, you can almost just fall asleep because you're going like this. This is what you're doing. You're milking the cow, milking the cow, milking the cow. And it gets mesmerizing. You as a person, if you're not doing it and you're watching it, you almost get like hypnotized watching all these little circles going out all over the place. And I'm sure like if you're doing it, it must really like really chill you out. That's all I can figure. Yeah, exactly. So I think it'd be kind of fun. I mean, it's not something for everybody because I know a lot of people. This is what I have found very interesting in the art community. Before I got involved in mixed media of any kind, when I was okay, most of you know my background. I was in construction, you know, and it was, you know, designing homes and remodeling homes and advising people of different things. So when you do that, um it's to me, even though now I can see that it's an art form, I didn't think of that as being artsy or anything like that. I just saw it as, you know how many feet have to be between the two by fours. There's not much latitude, things have to be pretty much a certain way or your house is going to fall down. Okay, so when I would think of artists, I always thought of them, I guess in my own head, I was like a preconceived notion that people that were in the arts were all free thinking, kind of hippie like, throw it against the wall, see what happens, don't really care, just have fun. And the more I got to meet people that are in the arts, including this mixed media group of people, a lot of you guys are really like perfectionists. And I would never equate being an artist with being a perfectionist, but I was wrong. A lot of you guys really are perfectionists. And, this has to look like this and that's got to fit there. And, even when you organize your rooms, they're just like, they got to be perfect and it's got to have its spot. And I'm going, what happened to the artist in you? But I've learned my lesson. I know that, most artists are like that. They're not my preconceived notion of what an artist was. And so with this particular thing, those of you that like things in its right place and that kind of an artist, you probably would enjoy the traditional marbling because you can create a pattern, you can duplicate things. There's a certain way it needs to be done to get an end result, and this is what I would consider my preconceived notion of what an artist is. Throw the ink in there, blow on it, see what happens. That's what I think of as an artist, but I was wrong. I mean, I was dead wrong. Um, that was just a prejudice, I guess, of what an artist was to me. I guess I saw too many bohemian type movies or something where you had the artist in Paris, and his place looked like a dump. And he had to be different and wore different clothes and nothing matched and that kind of a thing. I was easily influenced, I think. Oh dear. Yeah, that's one thing too. I always thought, I said, if a person approaches art through the eye of a perfectionist, I guess because I don't think that way. I mean, we all have our way of thinking and viewing things. I don't see where the fun is, you know, but that's just my brain. That's just the way I work. If I wanted everything, if I had a preconceived notion of how, okay, say I cut up this and I go, okay, now I want to make sure that the green, when I roll up the thing, I want to make sure the green is here and then it shows a little bit of the purple and then I don't show too much. Forget that. I mean, what the heck is that? I just say roll up the dumb thing and whatever happens, happens. It's like that's just way too stressful for me. It's like, oh my God. And I think that's what's so cool. Like I found a group of ladies that, that come over to my studio, and then I've met some other ladies, like Kathy, that have come up from my workshops from out of state. And it's so cool because all of the ladies, coincidentally, that have come to my classes, they all pretty much think the way I do. They just throw things together and they have fun and they don't really care, and it always comes out beautiful. I mean, their stuff always looks nice. And so it's been a real joy. I don't know if I have the temperament, if I had students come in and they were perfectionists, I think they would like drive me bonkers. Like, well, how come if I put that, can't I, why do I, no, just do it. Just slap that puppy down and it's going to be pretty. They probably never come back. Oh, Tammy. Hey, it is a form of art, right? His little roof line. I'm sure he likes that. Yeah, true mixed media. I've seen, and see, I guess I'm kind of in the middle of the road with that, because I've watched ladies put down all this stuff on their canvas and it looks great. And then they put a whole bunch more stuff on the canvas and then it looks great. And then they cover that up and they put a bunch more over the canvas and that looks pretty great. And then when they're done, it's like, I think I liked the second one from the bottom better than the fifth one. I can't wrap my head around that one either. It's like, why don't you get 5 canvases and do each one like you did and it would be great and just throw them up on the wall. Oh, it's so funny. But I think that's why it's great in a community with a lot of different artists. That's why you have such a diversity of things, because everybody's interest is so different. Their approach is so different. That's why like when I sell some kits, you know, they're nobody makes the same thing. They started off with the exact same materials of, you know, completely the same stuff and they don't look the same. When I had what, how many, five workshops for my in-house workshops for my encaustic, and I had a kit, everything was the same size, everything was included, and not one person made anything that remotely looked like the other. Not one person out of all those workshops. It was so cool. I mean, it was really neat. I have so much fun seeing what other people create, especially when you give them, I mean, it was a parameter and we had X amount of time to get it done. So, they were given all the tools so that they wouldn't have to waste time looking throughout the whole workshop for stuff to put in there. So that's why I put the whole kit together. And it was pretty cool to see what they came out with. Really, really nice. I'm sure I'm missing people. I'm busy chit chatting. Hey, Luz. I bet you got a bundle for me. Collecting. I was looking yesterday through that last bundle that you sent me, and oh, I got so many ideas. I got too many ideas, and I get kind of like um I don't know. I get sort of like paralyzed. Like, which one should I start first? What should I do first? I know things I have to finish. I'm filming my workshop for my plaster journals. I'm working, trying to get that done. I got the ladies coming in the second week of October. I'm all excited about that. Got that all done. Some people wanted me to make some small, relatively inexpensive glue books with color themes. I've been putting those together. That's taken up some time. Um, and stuff. I mean, it's just always stuff. And then, washer dryer drama and then it's been so stinking hot here. Oh, and I've been having to do a whole bunch of my eco dyeing because I got several people. It was really a coincidence. Um, our fall here is just not happening. By now, normally our leaves would already be starting to change, and when the leaves start changing, the colors on my eco dye papers obviously change because the content of the different things inside of the leaves change. So when they print, they're different. So I was getting excited about that, but nothing's happening. And so I drove a little north of us where it's a little cooler up in the mountains and things are starting to change a tiny bit. So I gathered up a bunch of those leaves and did a whole bunch of papers for that. And then but I hadn't put them up on in my store. I just was, putting them all together in a big old giant pile. And then somebody contacted me in my store and said, "Oh, I love all your colored ones, but, I'm really looking for, just browns and oranges and creams or rusty kind of colors." I said, "Oh, like this." And so I took some pictures and I showed them. They go, "Yes." And then the very next day, somebody else contacted me and said, "Oh, I'm looking for blah, blah, blah." So I showed them the pictures. They said, "Yes." So I've been busy going up the hill to get the leaves because I don't have them here. Because people, they start thinking of autumn and they start thinking of those colors. And I didn't have anything to offer them in those colors because I didn't have those leaves yet. So I went and did that. And I've been busy doing that. So yeah, I guess I have some legitimate excuses why I haven't been able to do my other little projects that I wanted to do. And I still have my Asian ones. I've got those covers done with the encaustic, and I've had those done for a couple of months already. And I finally got all my materials together that I'm going to stick inside of them. And so those, I think those are the next things I need to tackle after I get my color themed glue books done. So I'm getting exhausted explaining it all to you. But like I say, I'm just here testing, see if I can read my new monitor, see if you guys can hear clearly on my new headset, and get you excited maybe about a new project here. Suminagashi. Oh, let me see. Let me see if I can read. Mm. Yep, comes to your whole body. Yeah, because Jennifer really has to be very conscientious about her activity and staying, her therapy and things like that, her physical therapy. So that's good to know. Hmm. They were doing this research, um, talking about the body and the mind and all that. These were burn victims that, I mean, if you've just gotten a little dot burned, you know how painful a burn is on your skin. So just imagine burn victims where it's, you know, a large percentage on their body. And they, those expensive goggle things that you can use like gamers and stuff where it's like 3D and you feel like you're in there and um just really really advanced ones now where you you know you think you're there. I mean literally. And so they made some really beautiful movies about animals and birds and fishing, and um you're in it, just like in the old Star Trek, right? and and they would put those on those burn victims, and they would just get so into what was going on, and the whole time that they were viewing, they never once complained about their pain, not one time. And before they put it on, they'd say, okay, based on 1 to 10, what is your pain? And they'd give them a number. And then once they took it off of them, and sometimes this would be up for a half hour where they had not complained one time about their pain. And then they would take it off of them and they say based on 1 to 10. And they would look at him like with a blank face, like, what? They forgot, they were not even feeling the pain. They forgot completely about the pain. And so it was all part of this research and study, about putting your mind in another space, out of your own, like your own reality. And as far as pain management is concerned. And I think in a little smaller way, that's what a lot of us do, with our crafting, what we do. We get so much in the zone, and it's so narrowed into one space that we're not thinking about all the other stuff that's around us. And I think that's one of the side benefits. It may not be the original reason that you get into it, but it's obviously a side benefit. Oh, I bet, Donna. Yeah. Yep. Um, about once a month, I go to it's a rehab place, like for after surgeries and things like that on one side, and on the other side, it's residential. And I go there with the jelly plate because that's like the easiest thing that gives the quickest results, and they just love it. So I go in there with a bunch of paint and a bunch of homemade small jelly plate, and we start jelly plating. And they make cards, and the whole time they're there, they're just having so much fun because they're not thinking, and they really get into it, and they get serious. They get serious about their jelly plating. And then if I can get them to stop jelly plating, then we make cards, and then they can give it to friends, relatives, or their boyfriends there because they've all got a boyfriend. Let me tell you, one thing I've learned, one thing I've learned about getting older and older people, the only thing that changes is the outside of the body. Trust me, those little ladies that were a bunch of floozies their whole life, they're still floozies. And the dirty old man, they're still dirty old men. Nothing changes. Oh, so funny. Right, Jennifer. Yep, those endorphins, they'll do it every time. But I don't know if that's your experience. And so now I look at older people differently. Um, I look at them as still having the same hopes and dreams, even though they know now that those particular dreams, may never come to fruition. But it doesn't stop them from still telling you about what their hopes and dreams were. It's never left them. It's the same stuff, you know. And they think the same. They feel the same way. Um, the same things make them happy, the same things make them sad, the same things make them feel romantic. I mean, nothing changes. It's just that their body isn't cooperating with their mind anymore. Oh, exactly. I think my favorite age was, let's see, what is my favorite age? Probably late 20s. Maybe because that's when I got married. I got married when I was 29. And so, like 25 to 29, that was a good That was a good year. Yeah. I remember my let's see, how old was she? She was my husband's grandmother. She was 90 some years old, and she was could never she couldn't take care of herself anymore, but boy, her mind was, very smart. Of She knew what was going on all the time. And my my husband had not had a good relationship with his grandmother through the years because she had not been a good mother, and none of her kids liked her. Um, she just plain was not a nice person. She fooled around with all kinds of men. She just was not nice. But when she got older, a lot of her family was either dead because she lived so long. They were either dead or they were off in other areas. And so, really, the only real family was my husband. And, my husband didn't care about all that kind of stuff. He knew that she was an older person now, and, she needed someone to look out for her because, you have a person in those situations, in those homes. If they know nobody's looking after them, they're probably going to be the last one to get real attention, right? So, anyway, so we would go there and we'd go at least, 2 or 3 times a week to make sure everybody knew somebody was keeping an eye on her. And so we had a friend come out to visit us who at the time was 70 some years old. And so we were going to go visit his grandmother. And so he says, "Oh, I'll come." He's okay. Oh my goodness, I could not believe how this woman was flirting with him. He was a younger man, of course, 20 years younger than her. She would not, I mean, it was shameful. It was shameful. I would look at my husband and go, "Oh my gosh, what did she just say?" And the worst part of it was our friend was eating it up. Oh my goodness, it was so funny. It was bad. It was so funny. It was bad. Oh, yeah. It's just like, oh my god, I might be dead tomorrow, so let me have my last fling. It's so funny. Well, ladies, we've talked. How long have we talked? We've talked about nothing for how long have we been on here? Oh my goodness, we've been on here for an hour already, and we haven't talked about any one thing. Okay, so Patricia, you didn't hear it from me. I sent your box out a day late. It went out today. And whatever you don't think they could use, or whatever, um it won't hurt my feelings if you don't use it or take it. Maybe you could just donate it to like a women's shelter or something, because they've always got kids there that need things. So keep that in mind. If you get too much stuff that you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Don't hesitate to donate it to a good cause. Um, oh, Kathleen, everybody, yeah, don't worry about it, because I think she's gonna get plenty for the kids. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay, so if you guys don't have any other questions about the Suminagashi or anything else, I think I would call this a successful test. I can read what's going on over there. I noticed though, I mean, um, it's a tiny bit blurry over there because I have my reading glasses that I'm supposed to read here, and I don't have, I don't need glasses for over, well, just for seeing, I can see fine. But if I take my glasses off, it's a little blurry-er because it's right in the middle. It's that in between space. So I have to keep my glasses on, and they're not, you know, the right glasses for reading that far away. So I still have to squint a little bit, but it's a whole bunch bigger. Oh, you've done it, Kathleen. Did you enjoy it? Kathleen, I tried. I cannot do the bifocal thing. It made me nauseous. And they said, well, keep it on, keep trying it, keep trying it. I tried it, tried. So, yeah, I gave it up. I gave it up because what I need for distance is so minuscule. He said it hardly even registered. It's mostly for reading. Um, so I have an appointment next month, so I'm going to measure the distance from here to the big screen and see what he could do for me. I might do bifocals just for here, so I can read and I can see the screen and not worry about it too much. I tried the progressive lenses too. I couldn't find the middle ground because there's a spot where I don't need anything on there. And I just could never, I would have to tilt my head in a certain way to see things. And I ended up almost like with it seemed unnatural, you know, it seemed unnatural for I couldn't get my head in the right position. I feel like I was always like contortionist. Oh. Transitional glasses. Wait a minute. What's the difference between progressive, or is there a difference between progressive and transitional glasses? Yeah, see, I have astigmatism in one eye. He said if I didn't have astigmatism, I could just wear those, little magnifying glasses, for reading. But because of my stigmatism, it's the only reason why I really need reading glasses. Oh, computer glass. Okay, yeah. So that's what I'm going to talk to him about when I go in next month. Um, about yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I had that. But yeah, it just I don't know. Maybe it was just me. It just didn't work for me though. Like I said, it made me very, very nauseous. Okay, ladies. I'm hoping for fall to come soon so I can have my leaves, so I can get my fall colors out there because those are really yummy, yummy when I get them done. And you guys make some with all your scraps. Make some cloth beads. Look how cool they are. These are from all of my African fabrics. Look how cool. And then these are from just some pieces of a tapestry that I have. I love how all the strings just hang out and look cool like that. These are going to go in my Asian, in my little Asian journals that I've been working on forever. And all I did, I know the next question is, how did all you do, I'll make you one real quick before we leave. For those of you that have never made one. Okay. Get yourself anything. I just happen to have this little, it's not a tool for this, but it was like the thickness that I liked. You can make them as wide as you want. This happens to be like about a 1/2 inch by 3 inches. And this is what I do. Doesn't mean it's the way to do it. It just happens to be the way I did it. I get, oops, I get a little bit of glue right there on this end. The part with the glue is face up, and then I just roll it around. And then any glue you want. I wasn't going to waste my fabric tack on this because when I started, I wasn't sure if I was going to like them, but they're coming out kind of cool. And this is Crafter's Pick, which I had never really used it. I had it, but I hadn't used it. And this stuff's pretty cool. It dried pretty fast. It's pretty stable in the sense that, it's not all watery. It doesn't fall out when you lay it down. I like that. And then because it dries clear, you can just let the excess kind of ooze out, roll it up, pull it out. Hello, it's done. It's done. And they're fun. And I don't care which end is up or down. It doesn't matter to me. And the only reason, you don't even have to put this glue here. I just do it so it's kind of like secure there. You don't have to do that. It just makes me feel safer. In case it wants to unroll or something, it won't unfurl completely. Boing. Yeah, and I mean, and we've all got those little scraps that you don't want to throw away, but you know you're never going to use them. Well, now you can. And these look really cool with like brocade and things that have, oh, like these has like little, where'd those go? Shiny. I had a few. They have like little shiny threads through them. Look how cool that looks. I like how that came out. And if you don't like all these, things sticking out, you can trim it off, or when you cut them, you can use pinking shears. But I like the messy look, so that doesn't bother me at all. Matter of fact, I like it. Well, I guess we did do a demo of something, didn't we? I'm going to delete this video, you guys, because it's just rambling. Oh, maybe I should in case people want to do this Sumi Nagashi with us. Yeah, maybe I guess I better leave it. For those that didn't get to see it live, they'll know next time we get together we're going to do some kind of Sumi Nagashi stuff. Darla, I have no idea what I'm going to do with these little puppies. Probably. Well, I do have some little, I was thinking, just thinking now, the trim that a lot of people call eyelash trim that really isn't. It's got things sticking out all over the place. I have some thinner ones that aren't so thick. And I thought if you just took one and wrapped it around there, then you have a burst of color and some cool stuff. And then you can string these. You can put like, I could imagine a bead down here and then some ribbon going through it and then a few of them and have that as a little tassel for your book or something. Or I mean, all kinds of stuff you could do. You could even put these on the paper clips, hanging from the paper clips too. That would look pretty cool. Don't tell Carla. Is Carla here? Is Carla here? Before I can do it, Carla's gonna do it. Yeah, she'll do it better than me anyway, so let Carla do it. But yeah, You guys, make some. Show me what to do with them. Right now, I'm just making it. And you can cut the fabric in angles, like you do for the paper ones. But I was lazy. I just wanted to do strips because it was fast and easy. You can just rip them. Oops. Oh, see, you could cut them like that. That just came out that way. Let's see how that ends up. That'll be kind of cool. It's going to be a lot thicker because it's longer, but it's tapered, so it won't be too bulky. Ugh, look out. Oh, look how cool. See, that'd look really cool tapered. I'm just too lazy to cut all the fabric with that. Let's see. I'm a lazy artist. If it takes too much effort, then it's like work. I don't want this to be work. So all you ladies spent a bunch of money at all these sales that were on the past week? There, see? Cool. Yeah, Kathleen. That'd be so cool. Whoops. And don't underestimate, this is the salvage edge of some tapestry. This would be the tapestry and this the salvage edge, and look how cool it makes it a ready-made little tassel. I didn't do anything to this. Just cut off the salvage, rolled it up, and that was it. Ta-da! And see, this is the inside part of the fabric. That's what it looks like. And then that was the salvage. Don't throw anything away. It will come to get you. I know I have so many things. I have so many kits made up, and there's, for my shop and to sell. And they're just sitting back there because I think, you know what? Everybody and their mother is selling stuff. Who's left? Who's going to look at my stuff? There we go. Oh, it came out kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah, I know, Darla. I'm just lazy. Well, see, I've actually, most of my stuff, is on my Etsy shop. And I've never actually had a live sale. I mean, everybody's gotten on the bandwagon. I've never had one. The only time I've done two, but not on my own. I did one. The first one I ever did was with Jessica, and the second one I ever did was with Patty. And Patty goes, "How come you don't do it on your own? Why don't you?" I don't know. I just don't. Yeah, we all have something different, but there's just a limited supply of money that these ladies have. You know what I mean? Or unless they have a limitless supply of money, maybe I'm underestimating their wealth. Louis, my husband is originally from New York City, and he always tells me, he goes, "I don't know how people live there anymore." He goes, "If you're rich enough to live in New York, why don't you leave? You could get so much more for your money." For a short period of time, and this is when things, I mean, compared to now, it was when things were cheap, but they were still expensive then. We lived in Honolulu for no, about a year and a half, I guess. And we had a studio apartment. What year was this? I'm trying to think. This was I don't remember. 92, something like that. I think it was in 92. And this was all we could afford was a studio, all right? A studio, not even a one bedroom apartment. It was a studio. And my husband was making good money at the time, for that um year. And but that's how much it cost. And it was, I can't remember now, it was like 1600 $1,600. This is in 90 something, for a studio. And I told my husband, how do families make it that have to have a bedroom? Have to have two bedrooms. Of course, we were living in the city. It was a little more expensive in the city. And then and that was with no parking. You had to fight for parking space. I mean, fight, or else you'd have to walk a mile. Well, it was so funny. It's hard to explain the culture in Hawaii. If Okay, well, first of all, a lot of people. Oh, don't get offended now. People are going to get offended. But let me be straight with you, people. It's getting late. Let me be straight with you, and I'm sure you'll understand where I'm coming from. Most people, most, not all. I can't, you know, most people in the United States live by or close to people that look like them, right? Most. Whatever you look like, you look outside the door, and in general, most of the people look like you. Oops, I gotta wipe my eye again and I can't use my fingers. Hold on, hold on. Oh, my eyes are all watery. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. I'm trying to be tactful. I'm trying to be tactful. Anyway, okay, now in Hawaii, oh man, hold on. I really have to wipe my eye out. I don't know what happened. Hold on. Okay, what did I miss? All right. Uh, um, so in Hawaii, it looks like the United Nations. I'm serious. There is practically every nationality, every mix of nationality that you could think of. And the result is all these gorgeous kids. I mean, all the little kids are just gorgeous. But anyway, so across the street from us were a family of Samoans. Now, those of you that are not familiar with Samoans, I will give you a little backstory to Samoans. You don't mess with them. You don't mess with a Samoan because you're dead meat if you do. And the worst person to mess with is a lady Samoan. She will knock you down before her husband does, okay? All right. So they come with a history. You don't mess with a Samoan. All right. So across the street, we were in an apartment, a small apartment complex in a studio apartment in there. And then across the street were some small homes. And in one of those small homes lived a family of Samoans. And Samoans um, will fit 15 people in a one bedroom house. Okay. All right. And in Hawaii, you could do that because you're outside all the time. You're rarely in the house. So they can rotate beds, right? All right. So what these Samoans would do is they would have, what do they call those things? Those cones, like don't park here kind of cones. And they would put those cones out for like about maybe 3 or 4 parking spaces. 'Cause remember, like 20 people are living in their house. So like 3 or 4 parking spaces, they would put the cones out. Now, you knew if you lived in the neighborhood, you know that those were the Samoan cones. And you don't mess with Samoans cones, okay? You just don't do that. Well, anyway, um, so you go cruising up and down trying to find a space to park, and there's 4 empty spots there, and you couldn't park there because Mama Samoan would come out and kill you if you did. well, well, at the time we had parrots, and we had and on this the studio apartment, it had a tiny, I mean 3 foot by 5 foot little balcony outside that had your hot water heater or something. And so because the weather was always so beautiful out there and everything, and it was on the that balcony was on the shade side of the apartment building. We put that cage out there for the bird, and the bird just loved it. It would squawk and also. Okay, so from where the Samoans were, they looked right at our back, um, our little back porch, and they could see our bird. All right. So one day, Richard found a parking space that wasn't a Samoan parking space, and he parked, and the bird went crazy because the bird saw Richard, and so he's talking to Richard, and Richard's talking to the bird, and they're talking back and forth, the bird and him. So then the Samoan, now I have to interject here. My husband is deaf in one ear and has, at that particular time, only 30% hearing in his other ear. Okay. Okay, so he's getting ready to go into the house, and I heard the birds. So I go out on the balcony, and I noticed that, oh, it's Richard. Richard's home. The birds letting us know Richard's home. And the Samoan guy was out on the porch, his front porch, in front of his cones. And he said something to my husband. Well, my husband didn't hear him. All right. Now, when a Samoan talks to you, you answer him. Well, my husband didn't hear him because he was on his deaf side. Meanwhile, he's hearing all the noise of the bird talking to him, right? Okay. So there I am making like a motion to my husband, pointing like, the Samoan guy was just talking to you. Talk to the Samoan guy. We don't have money for new tires. Well, anyway, finally got it across to my husband. The Samoan's talking to him. So then they go and they chit chat, and I think, oh my gosh, should I call the police? What should I do? So anyway, few minutes go by, and here comes my husband up, and my husband loves to tell a story. He's worse than I am. And so he starts telling me about the Samoan guy. One thing led to another. Well, the Samoan guy was intrigued with our bird. So that was the whole conversation, was the bird. And they chit-chatted and all this stuff. Okay, well, a couple of days later, Richard comes home, just happened, there happened to be a parking somewhere close by, like half a block down. So Richard is you know, walking, down the block to our house, and the Samoan guy calls him out again. So he goes over there. Well, this time he had some lau lau, which is a really yummy Hawaiian dish. So he goes, oh, his wife had made the lau lau, and he wanted to give him some of the lau lau, and so he brings it up, and it was delicious. Okay, so they're really happy to have the lau lau for dinner, right? A couple days go by, and Richard's going up and down, can't find no parking. Samoan guy comes out, and he goes, "Hey, brother!" And my husband looks at him, "Over here." And he takes out the cone. "You park here." Richard goes, "Okay." From then on, he had a parking space for my husband every day. We now had a Samoan parking space. You have no idea the significance of you having a parking space given to you by a Samoan. I mean, that was like our big achievement of living in Hawaii, was having a Samoan park. I'll never forget that as long as I live. There's not many people that can say that you guys have met, I'm sure. You keep asking and see who tells you that they were privileged enough to have a Samoan parking space in Honolulu, okay? But anyway, the reason I say that was a diversion from New York. My husband said that would never happen in New York. There was nobody that would ever give up their parking space for you in New York. Oh gosh. Hey, Luce, my husband, when he went to NYU, and when he was in college, he drove a taxi. So you know what kind of a driver he is, Luce, right? Now you have to be East Indian of some kind, or Middle Eastern, to be a taxi driver. Last time we went, practically everybody was Middle Eastern. So he wouldn't ever be able to get a job now as a taxi driver. Oh gosh. So anyway, Hawaii is a one. I mean, I've heard. Okay, another story. I've heard not another story, but observation. I've heard from a lot of people that have lived in Hawaii that hated it because they said that the Hawaiians, quote unquote Hawaiians, um, are very cliquish, and they never felt that they fit in, and all this kind of stuff. Well, it's in a way, I can see where they're coming from, but it's the same kind of mentality where the rest of the world looks at Americans like ugly Americans, because Americans usually go over thinking things should be done the way it's done here, or they're doing things wrong, or it should be like this, or yuck, 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 yuck. And even though Hawaii is a state, it might as well not be one as far as its culture, its diversity, how it looks and feels and tastes and sounds. It might as well be a foreign country. So when people from the mainland, from the United States, mainland United States, come over, they come with an attitude like they're doing the Hawaiians a favor by coming over to Hawaii, when the Hawaiians kind of wish they'd just all stay home and stop, coming and telling them how to run things. So, so, so a lot of people leave maybe not so much on vacation because, they're being catered to while they're on vacation because they're spending money. And they were more than likely they're just, at a hotel to the beach to a restaurant, hotel, beach, restaurant. And they aren't really, getting to know the locals in any significant way. But if you live there and you have an attitude that whatever they're doing wrong and they should do it how they do it in California, yeah, they get an attitude against you. Because if you like it the way it's done in California, go back to California. Don't come to Hawaii and tell us how XYZ should be done because we've been doing this forever and we like it this way. So a lot of people do come back with a kind of you know, a not so nice taste in their mouth about living in Hawaii. But if they do, it's usually because of them, not because of Hawaii. It's their attitude while they were there. That's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it. Now, how did I get into making all this stuff and talking all over again when I was already saying goodbye? Ah, okay. What did I miss? I was looking down again. I got to get used to being able to read. I need the voice to do what? What, Tammy? What does that mean? Yeah, that high cost of living it's insane. Well, most of the time we lived on the Big Island, the main island. It's called the Big Island. And it's very reasonable. It's where regular people live. We bought a house and everything, and we could never buy a house in Honolulu. Um, it's just not going to happen. But and timing is everything. When we moved to Hawaii, it was during a particular time. Now I can't remember what year that was, but the market in Hawaii just stunk. I mean, it got really low. Things weren't selling that much, and it was just a weird time. And it just happened that that's when we went. It wasn't because of that. We didn't even know that was going on. Then we went there. We went there for other reasons. But then we started looking there on the Big Island, and we go, wait a minute, this only costs this and that costs that, and we couldn't believe it. So within, I think, about 3 4 months of being there, we bought a house, we fixed it all up and remodeled it and all that kind of good stuff. And then through my work, I was finding out about a few other houses that were available in a close proximity to where we lived. And so I told my husband, hey, why don't we get that and flip this one? And we ended up flipping the other one and moving into the other one instead. We switched houses. And, it was a lot. It was fun. It was something you could do. And it was inexpensive at the time, but you couldn't do that now, you know. Well, now you probably could because on that island you got the problem with the volcano. And I think now the prices have plummeted again because of the volcano, erupting last year. And, but I miss it. I mean, we've moved a lot of places. We've lived a lot of places. And if I had to pick one place to go back to, that would be it. I would love to go back to the Big Island. I loved living there. It was a whole different lifestyle. I mean, this is what you did. You got up in the morning and you looked out. Is it going to be one of those rainy days? Not the rainy day, because we had a lot of rain. And if it was when it was a beautiful day, it was a beautiful day. I mean, blue skies with white puffy clouds. All the palm trees are swaying back and forth, and it's just beautiful. Just what you imagine paradise to be like. That's what it was like. But to get that look, you get a lot of rain. So that when we had the rain, It was like you couldn't even walk outside because it was like a waterfall. It never sprinkled where we lived. It was torrential rain. So when you had the good days, you got out and did everything you could do in fear that the next day was going to be the day you couldn't even walk out of the house because it was raining so hard. And so then I'd drive down and go down to the local outdoor market and you get all your fresh everything, fresh everything. Fish, fruits, vegetables. They made this mango butter. Oh, my mouth is watering right now. This wonderful mango butter. They would make that sweet chili sauce from scratch. It was homemade. You go down there and get papayas and they taste like honey. Oh, oh, I'm getting homesick. Anyway, and you bring your fish home and you cook it and everything was yummy, yummy, yummy. And the local fish markets. I mean, the stuff had been dead like a half hour, because the guys literally would go out in the morning and go fish and and sell them to the markets. And then, you went to the market and you would buy it and it'd just been caught that morning. 3 inches, 3 inches. And then, as a local, you know where to shop and you know where to go eat. I mean, people that were on vacation, they go, "Oh, you have to spend $5 for a soda." Well, if you eat at the hotel, yeah. But if you just go to a little mom and pop restaurant that tastes really, really yummy, it costs you $1 like it does anywhere else. And if you love sushi, oh my gosh, you just go. There was these shops where you'd go and get your little bento box, and it had all kinds of stuff in there. You can get a yummy, yummy bento box, for like $3 or $4. That here on the mainland probably costs, anywhere from $15 to $20. And then if you went down to the beach, you got your bento box, sat down next to the beach to have your lunch. That's what the city workers did. They had the county seat right there in that one town on the Big Island in Hilo. And they had all those vendors and stuff, and they'd grab their food and go sit down next on the benches out there, right on the bay, have a little sushi for lunch, go back to work. Ooh, that would look cool. Hmm. What was really cool is there was this whoops. There was this Mexican restaurant. Well, there were several, but this one in particular was close to where we lived, close to our house. The first house. I say first and second. The first house, our house was like 2 streets from the ocean. And then the one that we bought that we were going to flip, we didn't end up flipping it. We ended up moving to it. That was up what they call up country, which is up in the mountains, up over by the volcano. That was house number 2. And they each had, things that were my favorite as far as location. But the one up in the mountain, it was cooler, obviously, because it was cooler. Down by the ocean, it was a lot warmer. But I think we had more rain up in the mountains than we did down by the ocean. But I did have my own mango tree and I had my own papaya tree. So I can't complain too much. Ta-da. Good night, Keisha. Thank you for coming. Yes. Get your Sumi ink if you don't already have any. I forget who said they had already had some, but whoever doesn't have their Sumi ink, if you order it tonight or tomorrow from Amazon, you'll have it a couple days. Mine came really fast. It said it was going to take like 10 days or something. I think it took like 3 days to get here. So don't believe what they tell you. It gets there a lot quicker. All right. Getting all sticky. I had a dog that lived to be 22 years old. And I wish I was a writer. I could talk a story, but I can't write a story. I think it's my dyslexia. Once I have to like look at letters and paper and whether it's writing down or typing or something, I just can't do it. Cannot do it. And then people have said, "Oh, well, talking to, record it." Well, when I try to think about it to record it, then I get like paralyzed and I can't even think of anything to say. So maybe I should just talk to you guys and then one of you guys can write the transcript for me. But anyway, what I thought would be a really cute story, and this has already been done. I think Richard said Mark Twain did it. but write a book from the perspective of your dog. Was that Mark Twain that did that, or was that somebody else that wrote a book about some kind of traveling? See, like you guys probably know. Was that Mark Twain? Darla, was that Mark Twain? Night, Deb. Anyway, somebody famous already did this years ago. But I thought it'd be so cool because that dog was with me for 22 years. I could tell my stories through the eyes of my dog. I just I just always think about that. I've thought about that for years already. What a cool story that would be. Or a cool way of a narrative. And it'd be like a cute a children's storybook too. You get somebody to make it simple. The day I peed at the Anasazi ruins. See, he could write a little story like that because he did. He went with us over to the, Four Corners and he went over by the Anasazi ruins and he lifted his leg. I mean, how many dogs have been able to do that? I think that would be a cool story. The day I went surfing in Hamunau Bay, he did that. We threw him out in the water and he looked at us like, "What are you trying to do? Kill me?" And he swam in and he was like surfing in the water. I mean, how many dogs can tell that story? A dog. See, Darla, see, that's what I thought. I've never read it, but I think my husband said it's been done, Rosemary. I go, oops. No original thoughts, I guess. No original thoughts. That's what I get for not being a reader. I don't know what's out there. Oh, we stayed. Oh, we'll talk about full circles. Um, there's a little town on the Big Island called Na'aleu, and we stayed um, in a little hotel in Na'alehu, and Mark Twain stayed there when he visited the Volcano National Park. And there is a tree that they asked him to plant that's planted there, and there's Mark Twain's tree there, and he stayed there. And they have pictures of him there at that little hotel, motel, whatever you want to call it. up there by Naalehu. And when he was visiting there on the Volcano National Park. You can look that one up. Okay, I listened to a wholesale died 110 blue papers. Uh-huh. Oh, she's been busy. Well, we're chatting. Tammy is working. She is working. Yep. Louise. Louise, I'm trying to get a feel for her. I think she's a pretty good shopper. I know she sent me some cool stuff. Cool ledger papers and fun stuff. I went to hello. Today when I was coming home from my errands, I stopped at this resale place. It's a veterans something 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 resale shop. And I got me a whole bunch of little hankies. I never find stuff like that. I always have to get them from Patty. And they actually had some really cute ones. I couldn't believe it. And so when I went up and got them, and the lady goes, she already knows me, she knows I buy a bunch of weird stuff. And she goes, what are you going to do with these? I thought you made journals. I said, oh, they got to blow their nose when they're reading the journal, don't they? And she looked at me. Okay. No, I was in a rush. I didn't have time to give her one of my long-winded stories of how they're incorporated into our journal making. But that was the extent to my find. Oh, and I found a pretty cool top that had a bunch of lace. I already tore it all apart. And when I was checking out, she goes, "Oh, this is so pretty." I said, "I don't think I should tell you what I'm going to do with it." She looks at me. Oh, she gave me the look. Oh, what a mess. Okay, I think I will work on those tomorrow. Put this back in there. You guys saw me enough doing that to drive yourselves crazy. You've seen one roll, you've seen them all. What? I found two beaded tops. Oh, wow. Yeah, but Luce, you're where the happening people are at. You know what I'm saying? Luce, so those fabric samples, do you find those fabric samples at the actual places where the fabric is sold, or do you find those samples at like, resale places? Somebody else has already gotten them and tossed them and you find them at other shops, or are they at the actual like manufacturers? We need to know. Oh, she's really got the inside. She's got a connection. See, you need connections. Yep, there you go. That's the way of the world. You need a connection. Good for you, Luce. Good for you. Good. Yeah, I got to figure out around here. Where I live, it's a lost cause as far as stuff. Oh, hold on, let me show you. Is that the one that opens up? Nope, that's the wrong one. My husband got me 3 different cards. He knows I like pop-ups. Look. Whoops. Oh, wrong way. Isn't that cute? Wong wong. Mommy. That was cute. Oh, you can't see the top. Which top? Oh, that top. What? No. What is it, Luz? I don't even know, like, is it a food, a drink, a material? I don't know what it is. Oh, wall covering. A textured one. Hmm. No, I've never heard of it. Is that a brand name or a kind of texture? Sounds like a brand name. My next adventure, and it's going to be a messy one. It's a brand. Oh, okay. No, Kathleen, she says it's a wall covering, textured wallpaper. Oh, okay. No, I'm not familiar with that. Now that you brought up wallpaper and texture, the next thing I want to learn how to do, I want to play with, is making some paper. Now, um, in making paper, I mean, if you want to do it in more than 2 or 3 sheets, um, uh-oh, loose. You know where my pile is. Loose. Don't make me come out there and get you. um, if you're just making a few pieces of paper, you can just pile stuff on top of it to, get all the moisture out. But the real thing that real paper makers use is a big giant press. I mean, a real, like, a ton press, and they roll it over and everything. Okay. So the other day I was thinking, wait a minute. I have what do you call those things? Now I forgot the name of them. I think it's getting late. Uh um what is that thing called? Oh my goodness. It's a press, but not that kind of a press. What is it? I just went blank what this stupid thing is called that I have. A heat press. Thank you. Yes, heat press. I have a heat press, and that puts a lot of pressure, right? So I was thinking, wait a minute. I could get the papers and stick them in the heat press. And of course, it's not, a ton, but the pressure is astronomical. I mean, it'd break your finger. So I'm sure it'll take all the moisture out. Plus, it dries it at the same time because it's a heat press. So I think that's what I want to do. That's going to be my next adventure. I think after I film the plaster thing, and we have the workshop and everything. I think once that's all done and history, um, I think I'm gonna venture in the paper. And so, now that Luce brought it up and all the texture in it and the Asian look and stuff, I think, yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. That's how hot press paper is made. See, I don't know these things, Kathleen. I'm glad you tell me this stuff. See, it's funny. I have some tools that I use them for one thing, but I, you know, haven't thought of how to use it the other way. And then I was thinking, wait a minute, that thing can break a finger. I know it can squish out the water out of all that mush. And it is no, the one I have isn't a roll. No. Mine mine is you know, I think they call it a clamshell. It's 16 by 16 square, and the lid comes down on it and lifts up, and it clamps, and it has a timer, and you can put it at the heat that you want it and all that kind of good stuff. But Kathleen, I have used it with my EcoDyne, and my EcoDyne is soaking wet. And it's as long as on the bottom, I have paper and stuff, so any moisture falls out. Um, and I have a pad that I use just for my wet stuff, and it works. It's really cool. It's real cool because you think of the concept. When I do my EcoDyne, it's a mat. Basically, you're steaming or boiling the stuff, and I have to do that for about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. I have to do that, and so I saw this one lady. I wish I could remember her name. I saw her, and she had a heat press, and just by a fluke, she's telling the story, and she said just by some fluke, she thought, hey, I wonder if I could, because she would dry her. She used her heat press to dry her flowers. She has an Etsy shop where she sells dried flowers, and she dries them on her heat press. Then she discovered EcoDyne, and she thought, hey, I wonder if I could do the same thing with that heat press. And so that's what she did. She um she got her fabric, and she wet it, and got it all ready with the alum and all that kind of stuff, like you would do it for when you do before you do the boil. And then she laid it on there, and then she put um the leaves or the flowers, whatever it was she was doing, and then of course she pressed it with the heat and the pressure. And what takes about an hour or 45 minutes can be done in 2 minutes. Obviously, it takes, if you add up all the time, it takes the same amount of time because you can only do, like 2 sheets at a time. And I'm doing like 50 sheets in an hour. And so if it's taking her 2 minutes per 2 sheets, you can add it, you can figure it out. But still, it's a neat technique. And you get immediate results. Like if you have a plant you've never eco-dyed with before, for instance, like say I go somewhere and I find a flower or a leaf, I got to wait a whole 45 minutes to an hour to see if it even does anything. But if I test it on the press, I'll know in 2 minutes if I want to use that leaf or that flower to do, the long-winded process. So it's kind of cool. And if you need like a real fast gift card or something, hey, throw your water paper in there and put your plant, in 2 seconds you've got your one little print that you can use instantly. um Yeah, go for it, Kathleen. It's a really cool process. Um, I don't really talk about it that much because not everybody has a heat press, so it doesn't make any difference to them. But if you have one, yeah, um, just make sure that you what I did is I have that spongy thing, majigger, on the bottom, and then I put like maybe two, three, four pieces of newspaper on top of that. Then I put either my paper or my fabric, whatever it is I'm using, and so on and so forth. And on top of that, I put some more newspaper, and then yeah, and then I do the heat press thing. And then as the juices of whatever plant I'm using starts to maybe get too juicy, then I will replace the um the newspaper and just keep rotating the newspaper. If you have to do it twice, maybe, if it gets too wet, and then do it for a minute and change out your papers if they're wet, do it for another minute, and then, check your print and, just kind of test it that way. Because really each plant is different depending on the thickness of the plant, how much moisture is in your plant. Um, and, yeah. Um, Make sure that whatever, yes, oh, most definitely. Usually I'm just working with a regular size piece of paper, the copy paper. I don't usually go anything bigger than that. So that's just, what, 8 by 10 or whatever. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Good point. Yeah. And I usually let the newspaper hang out because if it squishes out, at least it's sticking onto a little bit of the paper. And then I have some paper on the table also to catch what doesn't go out. Yeah, I don't get the newspaper either, but I have a few neighbors that get the paper, so I ask them to save it for me. Um, I don't, I don't read the newspaper at all. Okay, ladies, it's already 12:30 something my time. I'm going to go make me, I don't know why, I'm in the mood for a warm cup of tea. Why? I don't know, but I am. So I think I'm going to make me some tea and get my poor little invalid dog outside. We have to help him every night to get up because he's 100 pounds and he has severe arthritis and he can't use his muscles very well on his back legs. So we have to help him get up. Once he gets going, he walks like he's a drunk. I call him John Wayne because when he walks, he kind of walks like at an angle. He's like, Um, yeah, the newspapers have gotten very expensive and it's less and less stuff. And all they do is repeat whatever on the news. They just, get on the wire and go, oh, this is what, everybody's saying. Let's print it up. And then whatever's happened locally, they don't tell you the truth anyway. My husband's on the I forget what it's called, the building commission. Yeah, I think he's is it the no. I forget the name of the commission. He's some kind of a building commissioner or something. I already it's so late. I don't remember what it's called. Isn't that horrible? Anyway, so he knows the kind of the gossip that's going on as far as the city politics are concerned, and what they report's never the truth anyway. So we get the gossip, and then we don't worry about it. Okay, Luce, thank you so much. Oh yeah, colored comics. Yeah, who does that anymore? I didn't even think they do that anymore. Yes, Darla, hot tea sounds nice. Okay. All right. Sumi Nagashi. Whoops. Next time, Sumi Nagashi. Be there, be square. All right. Thank you, ladies. Good night.